And national security correspondent David Martin is here now with more on the troop movements in Ukraine. David, the reporting is that the Ukrainian resistance is putting up a fierce fight and that Russia isn't moving as quickly as they had thought they would.
Well, it seems to be true. The Russians have basically bogged down. They are still about 20 miles from the capital of Kyiv, and they are starting to experience shortages of fuel, shortages of ammunition, and it's turning into a siege. And in fact, they are starting to use rockets, which are much less precise than missiles, using rockets to bombard the city. So the fact that the Russians have bogged down may be good news for the defense of Ukraine, but it's bad news for the citizens of Kyiv because it puts them in even greater danger of being harmed. Russia has now committed about 2/3 of those 150,000 troops it had massed around the border, 100,000 troops. And it has not been able to take a single major city. But you have to look at it and say they've still got 50,000 there on the border ready to commit, and lots more troops back in Mother Russia. So they may be suffering an embarrassment of arms, but I think most people still expect a breakthrough will come.
Vladimir Putin is known for having a very heavy hand. So how do we understand what he said this morning on TV when he said he was increasing the nuclear deterrence readiness level? That sounds like a threat to the West.
Well, you know, he started before the invasion threatening. He said anybody who tries to interfere will suffer consequences like they've never seen before in history. He didn't say nuclear, but that's what he was talking about. Now he's putting his troops, or says he's putting his troops or his nuclear forces on higher alert. And this is clearly an effort to sort of shock the rest of the world into realizing how important Ukraine is to him and what he is willing to do to take Ukraine. And the Pentagon War Games stuff like this, a Russian invasion of a country in Europe bogs down, the US and NATO starts to come to their defense. Russia sets off a small, low-yield nuclear weapon just to shock everybody into staying in place and stepping back for a moment and considering what's going on here. I don't want to scare people with the thought that Russia is somehow getting prepared to launch nuclear missiles at the US. I don't think that is likely, but the problem is if just one low-yield nuclear weapon goes off, even if he just does a demonstration shot out in Siberia, there's just no experience for what happens next. So it is a dangerous moment, not just for Ukraine, but for the world.
A very dangerous moment. Thank you very much, David, for giving us the bottom line on that.